Shut the fuck up, I'm ready.
That gets me every time. I can't help it. What up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka Trick or Treat. Give me something to eat. Let me smell your feet, aka please don't suck on my nipples too hard. AKA, okay, you can suck on them just a little bit more. This is stupid. What is this? Coming back at you with yet another episode of Switch's Sights, in particular, episode 25. Lot of Sony related news coming out this week, so you know what? I think we should talk about it. For those that don't know, Switch's Sights is my solo gaming podcast where I talk about all related gaming and /nerd related content and matters and news and what have you. So let's stop the dilly-dallying and let's get into it, shall we? I think we shall. So probably the biggest news that came out this week. By the way, it is October 3rd, 2019. Just had to always put it out there, you know. So probably the biggest news that came out this week is with the announcement by Sony themselves on Twitter that the chairman and I guess presumably, well, I mean, evidently, the kind of face of Sony, for in a lot of respects, Shawn Layden is leaving Sony Entertainment. It seemed somewhat abruptly. It didn't seem like there was any type of kind of warming up to it, or you know, like in advance announcing that he's leaving or anything like that. So very interesting, I guess, timing in general. So that's probably the biggest weirdest thing I've kind of taken from this. But I mean, outside of that, he seemed like a cool guy. I really loved Jack Tretton before Shawn, and you know, I was defensive, like, hey, I don't know about this guy. He don't really add up. So, but outside of that, I think overall he's a pretty swell dude. So, I don't know. I'm not sure how I should take this, but I mean, you can't help but to be suspicious as to, you know, some type of negative reflection of this to some extent. So there's been a lot of kind of speculation in regards to that, but it's obviously, you know, you can speculate all you want, make all these theories, Pythagorean theorems, if you will, but at the end of the day, the truth ain't out. So, but there was some information regarding more details about it, at least in terms of and with GameDaily.biz, who I believe got information in terms of a source from it, from Sony in particular. I believe it was I believe through a third party source. So a third party source was basically spilling them deets about PlayStation in terms of globalization and stuff like that. So the weird key term that they used was exponentially exacerbating, which you could just, that is the uh most vague, dare I say, ominous terminology to use, um, you know, which is kind of expected because you're trying to cover your tracks to an extent anyway. So, but a lot of people are speculating that this is due to a recent or supposed drastic change in terms of Sony in regards to, I believe they're like restructuring the particular department of it, as well as something else in particular that I cannot recall. It was something of let me look onto this more further. Look onto it in more detail. Gotta get them details. It was like it was something along the lines of the kind of state of Sony was very shaky in terms of, in particular, the next console. Especially, it seems like Sony is moving into a more abrupt focus on PlayStation Now, which also, I guess, basically related news. They're also dropping a price of PlayStation Now, which was previously $20 a month, now is $10 monthly. So that's a very huge sign in terms of the possible direction that Sony is trying to focus on, which all in all is just very, very weird. Weird and concerning at the same time. And I think another point that a lot of folks are bringing up too that does make a lot of sense in terms of the direction of the next gen consoles, at least in particular Sony. This is the longest we have gone without any definitive, I guess, looks of the next gen console, which honestly does hold merit in terms of kind of like being pretty weird as to, by now we've known some rough details here and there, but we don't know the definitive, like, dates in terms of at least announcement of the console and things like that. So that is actually pretty concerning, but at the same time I'm not too worried about the next gen consoles in terms of their progress and their eventual release. It is concerning, with the head of Sony though, Shawn Layden, to just leave so what looks to be abruptly. I mean, we don't know all the details if he gave 2 weeks notice, or I don't even know. I think it's a different procedure with like super top heads of companies, but it's very weird to say the least. It's very weird overall. I'm cautiously concerned, but at the same time, cautiously optimistic and excited for the new generation of gaming. I mean, obviously, we're all ravaging at the lips. Got the foam in the lips out. Anxiously. I keep using that damn word. Well, you know what? I think it sounds good. So. Anxiously, how is that even a word? Whatever. Anxiously awaiting the next gen in terms of just the whole experience, the freshness of it all. It's like the new car smell, but in this case they're games, and you'll be able to enjoy them like endlessly. What's not to enjoy about that? It's a lot. A lot to enjoy about that, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, So overall, he was a stand-up guy. I really liked him. He was a pretty, after I warmed up to him after the departure of Jack Trenton, I think I grew to like him. He seemed to be pretty cool, pretty down to earth, kind of like a Phil Spencer type vibe. But I mean, I like, if we gonna compare the two, I like Phil Spencer more. But that's picking up straws out of a haystack. But hay has straw, so that's kind of redundant. We're just gonna ignore what I just said, though. We're just gonna ignore what I just said, though. Don't worry about it. Don't what? Huh? What? So yeah, interesting stuff there. In line with the onslaught of PlayStation news, I dare I say somewhat equivalent to the I guess magnitude of Shawn Layden leaving is also PS4 Crossplay being officially out of beta. Because that's a very subjective term in terms of like some games had it, some didn't. At least the ones that came on the top of my head. Rocket League, Fortnite. Those are at least the big ones that come to mind. Were there any other ones? There are for sure, but at least the popular ones that come to my head. So no shots at the less popular games that are crossplay, but I'm just saying. So, with all that said, PS4 is officially out of beta, so they stopped being a little bitch. I'm sorry, I had to let me censor myself. Stop being a little and they, nutted up and started playing nice. They weren't being like, the kid that was just mean to every other kid and not want to play with them when they asked to play. Now, Billy, aka PS4, now will play nice with other kids. So that's good. Very excited for what this means in terms of future of video games and, kind of our expectations of generation. So now we don't have to think in the confinement of basically, not getting a console because your friends are on a different console, even though you don't prefer to play on that console. I really like that fact because at least I can attest to it. Honestly, considering, a lot of factors. Personally, I still like Xbox more than PlayStation. But because of a lot of my friends are on PlayStation, I do find myself playing on there more. So, personally, if I had the option, in particular for majority of games, I prefer to play on PlayStation, or I got it mixed up, Xbox. I just like the controller better. In some aspects the user experience isn't as great as PS4, but once you get used to it, you're used to it. Not trying to ignite no flame or anything like that, but obviously I have both, so I can't really be hating on one or the other. Technically, I have love and respect for both, or technically pretty much all of the platforms in the race. So, and I guess that's kind of going back to my point, is that like this is just great in terms of just being able to bond more with people in terms of, friends that you won't play because you refuse to get an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 or whatever, whatever side you fall on. I think this is just another great step in terms of bonding folks together overall, which I am all for. And also with the Call of Duty coming out, that's probably going to be the biggest testament to this new initiative of, joining various differentiating console races together to unify each other so we can frag each other in unity. Well, who would not want that? Who would not want to kill your buddy in unity? You're on Xbox, he's on PlayStation 4, you frag his ass, and you guys can actually play together. How surreal is that? On top of that, yeah, that's just so hard to fathom now. It's like all these generations, you're just mentally can't fathom the fact that you can play with another console over a particular game. That's so crazy to me. It does bring some weird, I guess, issues technically, which a lot of them can be circumvented regardless. Probably the biggest one is making your IDs and stuff, which basically it's hit or miss for some people, but obviously you can't use the same ID because for most like architecture for crossplay games, at least particularly with Call of Duty, you have to make your unique ID or have an existing one for whatever, account for said game, and then, be able to play that across everything. But man, it was so freaking awesome, literally, to play Call of Duty on the PlayStation 4 and, the dumb exclusivity. Don't even feel like getting into that today. Dumb exclusivity aside, be able to play and progress in Call of Duty 4 on the PlayStation 4. Then the following weekend, when the other platforms got in the mix, PC, and Xbox One, being able to have all the progress you made seamlessly transfer over is just fantastic, man. This is what I dreamed for, especially for like multi-platform people. Man, it is like a dream, man. Just being able to switch around. Don't even get me started on Destiny 2, what they doing now. That's is gonna get me to get into Destiny at some point. Just gotta find the time. So, all in all, good stuff. Finally, Sony, you play nice. Xbox and Nintendo was like, hey, Billy, hey man, you want to play with us? So he's like, no, I don't want to. Billy, you need to shut up and join. All right. So yeah, man, I'm very excited. I just really like the tone this sets for the future in terms of specifically the next generation, because I hope this is the standard. Any multiplayer, multi-platform games, this should definitely be the standard hand down, other than, maybe some obvious exceptions, for, limitation reasons or what have you. You can't have the parity across all consoles or something like that, which is, in that aspect, that's probably the only factor I can definitely, understand why a particular console can't do or go multi-platform. So, which is totally fine. I don't have an issue with that. So, good on you, Sony, for nutting the hell up and stop being a little and play with the other kids. Okay. Sony, Black Mom came and got Sony and taught his ass straight. He's like, okay, Mom, I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna play with everybody else. Oh, bad. I'm stupid. Yeah. So that's pretty good. So I guess still in line with PlayStation news, this probably might as well be the PlayStation focused episode. There's been some rumors going around, and actually let me verify, because I think there's been some progress. I don't know if I really want to get into this. At first I thought it was a good idea, but I don't know. This is just all speculation. You know what? We'll go into it. We'll dabble. We'll dabble a little bit. we'll put the nuts halfway in. We'll we'll put one nutsack in. We'll see how it fares, then put the other one in. So on Gizmodo, I mean, take the credibility for what you will. They came out with an article today talking about some particular thought-provoking stuff in regards to next-gen consoles in terms of, code names and things of that nature. So I think we'll just talk about them and, I guess try to speculate on the accuracy or, if they are a lie or not, or don't exist or not. So the first is PS5. The dev kit or the alleged code name is Prospero. Something about that just doesn't seem right. Prospero. I mean, obviously prosperity, but I don't know. That just seems too... I can't think of the word for it. It just seems too pretentious. That's the vibe I get from that. I don't know. And then, the same images are going around regarding that particular PS5 design where it's like a, probably the closest, it actually looks a lot like a humidifier. That's probably the best like device I can associate it with. The PS5, aka maybe that's the added benefit. It plays your next gen games, but on top of that, get it? Hear me out. Humidifier. It will humidify your environment, and it based off that, right? It will control the climate that you're playing the video game in, so you don't have to worry about AC. You don't have to worry about fans. All that you got, throw it out. When this PS5 come out, drop it all. It'll take care of both. And it's available right now. Guys, we've heard you. You wanted a next gen console that provides stunning, revolutionary graphics. But, like we said, we've heard you. We've also included first class AC technology. So at the same time that you're gaming, you're staying cool. Guys, welcome to the PS5. That'd be the dumbest thing ever. But I like it at the same time. I'm not even gonna lie. You can play games on it, but hear me out. You'll stay cool. That would be the spin. That would be the marketing spin on it. That is so dumb. Oh, okay. So yeah, with the, kind of form factor of the PS5, at least to me, it just screams like humidifier. I don't know. I just get humidifier vibes from it. Hopefully that's not what'll, I could say that now, but it's like, it's just that particular attachment you get to consoles where you're just like, after playing it for so long, it's like, you know what? You're all right. You're all right in my book. At first, I was hesitant about you, but you're all right. You're all right on you're all right in my book. So, I guess, yeah, the big terminology being thrown around is ray tracing, that supposedly both will be capable of this in terms of ray tracing. But I mean, if these current graphics cards can barely handle ray tracing, well, you have to significantly lower your resolution, to my understanding, to even get like a good balance of ray tracing as well as graphical fidelity. it just which I guess that could be probably something that the consoles would have you compromise, but it's like when you go to next generation, you expect a huge jump. Excuse me, a huge jump in terms of, graphical fidelity, like this mid-gen upgrade had some games that could, kind of mess around with 4K, do some techniques to make it be 4K somewhat. And, now, at least next generation, we're definitely expecting 4K as the standard. And, obviously being able to be backwards compatible with people who still want to stick with 1080p TVs and whatnot. So, I am very cautious about that terminology they use, and I don't know if they they have some different thought process of ray tracing. We have what we call Sony ray tracing. I was like, so what does that mean? Is that actually ray tracing like the standard that graphics card have implemented? And these consoles will have the AMD technologies. I'm pretty sure both. So it's like no knock against AMD because I believe they're actually starting to do it too, but they seem to have somewhat been behind Nvidia to some extent. So it's kind of hard to see how that's gonna actually play out. But yeah, I guess. And then there's this rumor about the Xbox Scarlett having a huge emphasis on the camera. I don't know. That's kind of what's leading me to, at least what initially made me hesitant to talk about this, because I don't know. This just seems very too rumory. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think Xbox is gonna mess with doing the camera again. They've been so burned by the Xbox One and the 360 to some extent, with the Kinect as the add-on, and then trying to force it down people's throats with the release of the Xbox One. I don't really see that being a thing. I really don't. I guess it's just people are just very hesitant with cameras in general. Just to have one built in for your console that at least may not be mandatory, but I mean, obviously, it's like if you're forced to buy a console with a camera, it's like you might as well use it. It's like, well, I had to pay this extra premium for this damn camera. You goddamn right, I'm going to use it. So it's, I don't know. I could see it to some extent where it would just be an add-on or optional add-on that you can buy or purchase separately, or for the super elite premium sip the tea with the pinky up in the air race, that will be included or something. But I don't know about that. I am very cautious about that. That's making me lean on a very weary side in terms of the accuracy of these rumors, at least in terms of the factor of it. I guess one angle I could somewhat maybe see is that they're doing this maybe in terms of the purpose of implementing their own VR, or at least what Microsoft has been technically working on more than VR, which is AR, augmented reality, where it can kind of cast kind of illusions that look real, which I don't know. I see that more than VR, but at the same time, I guess they can maybe do both. That may be the intention of the camera, that they may technically be able to be capable of both, and maybe trying to maybe fully expand on that, I guess, myth of or at least the original vision of the Kinect to, just have a fully seamless experience with not having any control at all, just using your body as the controller. So I do not know. Very, very cautious. Put the salt over my shoulder. Put it everywhere, because I don't know about that. Knock on wood 55 times. I don't know why 55 times, but hey, you gotta be safe. You gotta be certain. So Yeah, man. And then this this is probably the biggest one. Boy, I would like it to be true, but I find it hard to believe that it would. So this last statement, I don't know, man. So both consoles will supposedly, that's not what he said, but I'm putting a huge supposedly because I don't believe it initially. Supposedly will have the largest let me get my keynote talk on. Both consoles, guys. Guys, we've heard you. Both consoles will have the largest compute jump of any generation. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I would love to believe it, but I don't know. Considering the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, those are pretty substantial jumps from the Xbox and PS4. I mean, not substantial, but reasonable. So to jump from that to whatever else, considering the specs we were already given, I don't find that to be accurate. I don't think that's going to be accurate. It will probably be a noticeable jump, but probably in the same lines as what like 360 to Xbox One, PS3 to PS4. It was noticeable, but it wasn't super significant, So I find it hard to believe what they can do at this point to sell us on the fact that it is. I guess, just maybe getting into the nitty gritty with like Digital Foundry videos or something, breaking down them specs. But I mean, at least from what they broke down for, the alleged specs in terms of next gen consoles, it does not really add up. So I don't know. All that together leads this to be kind of somewhat of a hype, just rumors, straight up rumors that put a lot of grain of salt in being subjective on believing or not, because I'm leaning more on believing, which is why I was pretty cautious to kind of talk about this. I don't like to talk about super duper rumor where it's very unconfirmed, where this could the PS5 you can stick in your ass and you can play in HD. I'm like, what? No. No, even better. You can play in 8K by sticking up your ass. Yeah. Oh, you want it now, don't you? I'm like, what? How does that work? Do we have that circuitry to up res? How can I upscale out my ass in 8K? How does that? What? You can do it though. I mean, come on. Yeah. It's like, all right. This is not. I don't think that works. It works that way. Just some random black dude on the street trying to sell knockoff consoles. Hey man, I'm just trying to tell you. Hey, you stick it up your ass. You can play in 4K. That's all I'm saying. Try it if you want, but I'm just trying to tell you what I know. You stick it up your ass so you can play it in 8K. I mean, do you want to play in 8K? Well, stick it up your ass then. I'm just saying. It's like, how does that work? What is it? Is there ass ass processing? like Genesis blast processing, but guys, we've heard you. Genesis had blast processing this generation. As I'm being interrupted by this damn plane. Are you fucking done? Thank you. Guys, we've heard you. This generation, or last generation, excuse me, we had blast processing. But this generation, we're proud to introduce ass processing. Everybody clapping. Oh my God, you could blast out your ass. That's great. Oh, that's just horrible. That's just horrible. So take this with a super duper grain of salt. But either way, I thought it was interesting to kind of speculate and kind of analyze either, in regards. So kind of circling back to Shawn Layden's departure, in terms of that same article with GameDaily.biz, supposedly in terms of third party source, they're getting nervous in terms of what I was talking about earlier, in terms of just not getting more info about the consoles and the detailed specs and stuff like that. So and I'll quote this specifically. This is the least amount of clarity we've ever had on a new console this close to transition, the source said. I believe that the global restructuring is exponentially exacerbating, that terminology, the already difficult process of transitioning to a new generation. And now we're getting nervous. Read, very nervous. The camera zooms in. Very nervous. So that's kind of concerning though. So I mean, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, that is pretty concerning considering the factors of it all. That's a little weird. And I think in an interview with Ryan, who's been the Sony, I think he's higher, or technically higher than the chairman position. But I believe he had some just straight honesty, like, hey, I'm paraphrasing very much so, but he's like, hey, normally after we do a successful generation, we mess it up in terms of the next one. So hopefully the PS5 will break that trend. We'll see. They're at the top, but I mean, we saw what happened with the PS3. Unless we want some $600 PS3s at launch, I don't know. That's probably the biggest mystery. I doubt they will be stupid enough to go that ridiculous again. Probably at the most 500, and then maybe have a lesser options with maybe like smaller hard drive space or something like that for 400. But that's probably that will be the most logical, is at least to get sales and just sales more importantly than anything. So I don't know. That made me a little concerned. But hopefully they'll turn it out. Hopefully. We'll see though. We'll see. So yeah, at least we pretty much talk about PlayStation Now in terms of the huge price cut. I guess to elaborate on that a little bit more, it's a couple of questions that I am curious about. I know PlayStation Now, they at least were strictly a all streaming service. Buying up Gaikai in terms of utilizing their streaming technology with their Now service. And then now with the trend that Xbox Game Pass has been setting, being able to download your games, even though kind of the opposite, you can't stream them yet, other than with xCloud that they're testing out. I think this week too, that they announced at the Microsoft keynote, if you will, or mass announcement keynote. Yeah, it's probably keynote is probably the best way to describe it. So that's interesting. So at least now they gave you the option to download games, which they, started doing a while back. But now with the price cut, that's making PlayStation now pretty competitive against the Xbox Game Pass, which is good overall for us. I think that's a good win because it's breeding that competition, which at the end of the day we definitely win from that. So I'm all for it personally. So I mean, they can keep doing it all they want. Make it $1. Make it $1 like Xbox Game Pass. Come on now. Don't be a little Sony. All right, man up. Get your nuts tight. What? Yeah. Get your nuts tight, Sony. Come on now. That's the get your nuts tight, son. All right. Yeah, man. So I mean, it only makes sense. It was kind of inevitable at this point because a lot of people are actually being enticed by Game Pass, actually wanting to jump on the Xbox because of that. So I mean, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. If it ain't about dollars, it's about cents. I'm curious for people who already invested in PlayStation Now, the very, very, very small minority, I'm sure, how they handle those folks. Do they get like a discount? Or they get more months of it? I'm guessing more months of the service if they're already paid, that seems like the most likely, but they haven't really confirmed that or those details. But it's a very weird occurrence too, in terms of, which I think I talked about in conjunction with Shawn Layden leaving. Now they hiked up the prices for these, or I mean, cheapened the price for PlayStation Now, and seem to be putting a huge effort in terms of pushing it. But at least for the games they have, GTA 5, God of War, those are interesting. But if you ain't got either by now, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm looking at the article that PlayStation released. Yeah, so God of War, Grand Theft Auto 5, Infamous Second Son, Uncharted 4, Thief's End are or at least new titles. Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of other content that was available before, but I think maybe one upper hand that PlayStation now has over Xbox Game Pass is that all of their titles still stay in their library. Not like Xbox Game Pass, to my understanding, where it's kind of like a Netflix style where, they seem to be available for like what? Well, I guess it varies. It depends on probably the licensing terms for each game they add to Game Pass or something like that. But I guess that's one thing to consider. That seems to be a possible upper hand that PlayStation now has over Xbox Game Pass. At least I could perceive initially. So, yeah, they don't really talk about any other details. 7-day free trial if you never tried it. I know I tried it at least a while back. It was like 2013, 12 when it like just came out. Messed around with Earth Defense Force. That is probably actually no. I think that's legit. Earth Defense Force, Insect Armageddon. No, what was it? I think 2025. But yeah, I played that. It's for me the lag was noticeable, but it was manageable. It was manageable. It was noticeable but manageable. It was playable, but yeah, if I had the preference, I would use it. I would definitely, like they have now, download it and play it if I could. I don't think you can do that with the PlayStation 3 titles that you can stream on PS Now, but for the PS4 titles, I'm pretty sure you can. So I don't know, but I made so much progress in that game. I ended up just getting the game itself, and then but then that was the weird caveat with PlayStation Now is that like if you save the game, the only way you could if you save the game and you wanted to play the game, buy the game and play it, you had to sign up for PS Now again in order to get your save data from the cloud to, you know, use for your physical game, which that just is a pain. That hopefully they maybe change that by now. I assume so, because that's just horrible and annoying. But, you know, at the same time, they probably just do that to get your ass and like try to pull you back in. Like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. Looks like you're gonna have to buy PS, you know, PS Now again. Ah, darn drat. Oh well. You could just, you'll cancel the subscription when you enable it, right? I don't know. But other than that, that's pretty much been the news. At least that caught my eye that came out this week. I forgot to mention, I think last episode, that Death Stranding went gold. Yes. One step closer to that weirdness and craziness and confusion that is Death Stranding, and I'm all for it. So that's a good sign. Hideo been on this. Hideo been on his shit. Okay, he been on it. I gotta give him that. Any stuff I missed last week? Not really. Not really. No, haven't. I heard about Apple Arcade. Been hearing that's been pretty legit. I have the latest and greatest iPhone, but I've yet to check it out. I do plan to do that. Hopefully sometime. But outside of that, I've not touched it. One thing I am excited about though, Project Resistance, the demo for, you know, the game I wish was Resident Evil Outbreak File 3 or a reboot, but we'll see how it is. May be able, might mess around and stream some of it because I have the I got in on the beta for it, so we'll more than likely try that out and then you know, see what happens there. But outside of that, yeah, pretty much nothing news related. So I guess we're moving what I've been playing lately. Monster Hunter World. That shit has been still captivating me. Trying to grind the end game stuff. Well, actually, at this point, I'm just trying to get all my high elemental weapons, or weapons for each element. So, you know, covering fire, thunder, water, ice, and just have a competent weapon that can cover all of the bases there. I've been refraining from the Gilded Lands because of that. Because I want to be prepared, because I know those monsters can be, you know, annoying, irritating, what have you. But I've been looking up on some sweet techniques that you can use to exploit the Gilded Lands. One is, I guess, using Econologist, I want to say, where technically if you do that, you get double the drops and pickups, which basically doubles the time to you know, kind of earn the Gilded Lands levels, because each segment, and this is strictly endgame basically, so there's a board called the Stricklands Gilded Lands that has basically aspects of each of, or majority of the worlds from the game that are, you know, wider and bigger. It's basically all in one map. So you basically can go to each aspect of it in one map, which is kind of cool. At least from what I played, it was pretty cool. But I guess I could see it kind of getting old and eventually, because they, at least from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are saying is it's just a arduous, tedious grind to try to get the monsters that you want, and you know, you're under a cap at certain points where you have to be a certain monster master rank, which is the new rank for Monster Hunter World Iceborne for the Master Rank or G Rank quest, to try and basically earn that before you can level up your board, your aspects of your Gilded Land. So I don't know. That's kind of starting to make me wane from the game, but we'll see. I'll try to take advantage of these exploits before they get patched. There was one other one I heard about that was seemed pretty dope, was Fortify, which is basically if you get carded in Monster Hunter, which is basically when you faint or get killed by a monster, you get double 20% attack power, and then you can do it up to 2 times. So I guess technically 40% after that. They said an exploit you can do is basically you can start the Gilded Lands, and because you don't lose any rewards for getting killed by a monster, well, you do that, but if you kill yourself at the start of the game, it doesn't register as a kill against a monster because you didn't get killed by a monster, you killed yourself. So basically, if you do that, it will give you the bonus and buff that you can use. I believe it was like 58 minutes or something like that, where you can then, stack that on all the ridiculous buffs you can have, like the armor talon, or power talon, power charm, and then like demon drug juice, and then stack all that shit up and then be like desecrating these monsters, which that sounds pretty damn enticing, which I'm very encouraged to do. I know I got a few ecologist gems that I definitely want to use, and fortified gems also, that I'm definitely going to do some experimenting with that, because if so, I'm definitely going to take advantage of that and try to exploit that before they patch it out, because I guess Capcom has been pretty adamant about patching out a lot of Gilded Lands related stuff, which is dumb. It's like, can't we just grind? I mean, how we want to grind. If it's not hurting anybody, we just trying to get up. We just trying to get our levels up. Come on, Capcom. Come on now. So yeah, I found that very fascinating. So I'm definitely encouraged to try that at some point. Off topic stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. I did because it is the season. This is the the beginning of horror month. Why not celebrate more so than to start playing some horror games that I've been putting off for the past 5-6 years. So in line with that, you probably saw earlier this week, played some Silent Hill 4 The Room. So beat 1 through 3. So now I'm on to 4. At least those are the main ones that were made by the original Silent Hill developers. But then it seems like after that, it kind of went off the rails in a lot of ways. So it's probably where I'll end it in terms of Silent Hill. Maybe mess with, some of the releases here and there. But outside of the main ones, it just seems to be so many damn Silent Hills after that. Silent Hill Booty Hole Fun or something. Silent Hill the Booty Hole mentions. I don't that'd be kind of funny. That'd be a funny one. I'd play that one. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'd play that. Oh, Silent Hill Booty Hole mentions? Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get it. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. That'd be pretty fun. I'd be encouraged to do that. Yeah, so at least my impressions for Silent Hill 4, at least a couple hours I played, pretty cool. Still the same sluggishness as Silent Hill 3. I think it was just the particular enemies I was fighting with, the dogs with the tongues out. They just seemed annoying. I had a slight difficulty wrapping my head around the room concept, where it seems like initially when you get to the game, you have to leave the room and then at certain points come back and then kind of try to notice differences after coming back, which at least graphically it's kind of hard to notice because of that. Because this is an Xbox original Xbox game. I'm not sure. I think it came on 360 PS3. I don't think so though. In my head I think it did, but I don't think it did. I'd have to check up on that, but at least know for sure it came out on Xbox, original Xbox, and PS2. I think PC as well, but We all know what a crapshoot PC is for at least a lot of the older. I guess it's just hit or miss overall. You just kind of have to do your research on it, but nonetheless, that was pretty cool. I liked it. I liked what I played. I'm definitely planning to play more over the weekend. So be sure to keep a lookout on Twitch TV/aswitch. Also, did I mention it? Yeah, I did. Project Resistance. I believe the closed beta you can stream, so it might be live now. So if it is, you can expect an impromptu stream for some Project Resistance. So I'll probably play a combination of that and Silent Hill 4. And then if I get really depressed by Project Resistance and the game it could have been, might get to see some of that Outbreak come back. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we had some of that Outbreak action, so we shall see. But outside of that, gaming wise, that's what I've been up to. At least the off-topic stuff. Not really been doing much outside of that. Just been straight up monster hunting and other games. Been barely finding time to do, well, at least watch stuff. I just generally prefer to play games, honestly. Because it's very limited either way. What I will say though, I do plan to see that Joker movie. Hopefully I don't get shot. Going by all those news stories that have been going out about it. I might be able to try to go tonight, depending, but we'll see. But yeah, you'll probably be able to. You'll expect. You should expect. You should expect my impressions of the movie next episode. My thoughts and impressions about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, if you guys have any questions that you like to be answered on the show, feel free to drop an email at my email, aswitchtv@gmail.com, where you can hopefully get all that answered for you. Also, outside of this, you can catch me, or let me rewind that. If you enjoyed this podcast, you feel free to like, rate, subscribe, or I hate this podcast, whatever. Give me any feedback is appreciated on your popular platforms that you listen to podcasts to. Did I word that right? I think I did. I'm gonna go with it. Also, you can catch me on this channel on Twitch TV/aswitch, where I do host this show, or been hosting it live regularly. You can also catch me on youtube.com/aswitch, where I swear to God, I'm going to do it. You know what? I was checking some of my videos that I like been recording and stuff, and I just have a huge ass backlog of stuff I've just not touched, or just left in the back burner that I plan to at least upload and maybe do some fun with to some extent. So you can expect that at least in the foreseeable future. I'll give you that much. So you're welcome. Did I ask you anything? No, but you're welcome anyway. Yeah, outside of that, I think that is it. So yeah, guys, that's gonna conclude episode 25 of Switch's Sights. Yeah. Until next time. I really love that. That is so damn great.